All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It is a smaller group this Friday. Please go ahead and make sure if you have any questions to just unmute yourself or put it in the chat. I will be toggling between the presentation, the platform, and the chat to make sure that I see all of your questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please make sure you sign in on the link pinned in the chat. Make sure you sign in on the link pinned in the chat. My name is Bruna Presh. I'm the School Success Manager with Edpuzzle. My background, I've been in education for 12 years now. I'm a former special education teacher, was a special education instructional coach and district professional development coordinator. Been with Edpuzzle for 3 years now, and I support with trainings and implementations in the classroom. I am going to share the presentation with you so you all have it. And I am going to go ahead and pin it in the chat as well. We have some more folks joining. Today, by the end of the session, what you are going to be able to do is use Edpuzzle for formative assessment, navigate Edpuzzle originals based on the standards you teach, analyze Edpuzzle data to inform your instruction, and differentiate instruction, practice, and assessment using Edpuzzle. If you don't mind, go ahead in the chat and put, from 0, I've never heard Edpuzzle, to 5, I use Edpuzzle every day in my instructions. Tell me a little bit where you are, from a 0 to a 5. 3, 2, 5. Awesome. 0, 3. So we have a variety of levels within us with our group today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and do a quick review of what is Edpuzzle, and then we will move forward. What is Edpuzzle? Edpuzzle, you can take any video, you can embed your own assessment questions and notes, you can track your students' progress. It is easy and powerful because it increases students' engagement. Students with prevent skipping are not allowed to move to the next step without watching the video. It takes a passive video it transforms it into a learning experience because students have to process the information that they're watching in the video, and they have to answer questions. You can utilize that data to transform your instructions, to identify your students' need, as well as differentiate. Let's go ahead, and what I'm going to ask you for the next 2 minutes is I'm going to put the link in the chat. Go to the link in the chat, and please sign up in Edpuzzle. You're going to select I'm a teacher. Let me grab this link really quick. I'm a teacher. You're going to sign in with your school email, add your school grade and content area, and open your email and verify your account. So let's go ahead and all do that right now. Let's sign in. If you already have an Edpuzzle account, please go ahead and just sign into your Edpuzzle. If you never had an Edpuzzle account, go ahead and create one and verify your email. I'm going to set a couple minutes for this, and then we will move to the next step. Do you have any questions as you're creating an account? Perfect. So I'm assuming you all have created an account, and going into our Discover page, you will be able to see, oops, give me 1 second. Let me share this tab instead. This is what you are able to see within our Discover page. Now, right here, what can you do with Edpuzzle? Let's search a topic that you might be teaching your students coming back, adding decimals. I can search right here. Under community, you're going to find any videos within the Edpuzzle community. Under my network, you are going to find any videos within your school district. And under YouTube, you're going to find any YouTube videos that are related to adding decimals. So again, community, any videos within the Edpuzzle community, teachers within Edpuzzle have posted, modified, edited. My network, anything within your school district, and within YouTube, any YouTube videos with that topic. Another way to find content within Edpuzzle, ready-made content, is our Edpuzzle Originals. This is a plethora, at this point, 3,400 plus videos of all of the core academics, plus financial literacy, digital citizenship, holidays and events, and study skills. where there are videos already made for you. They have embedded questions and notes. They're all standards aligned. We will talk a little bit more about that standard alignment. When you are in Edpuzzle and you see these dots right here, these are questions and notes that they are embedded within the video. We're going to go back to our Discover page on adding decimals, and I'm going to find a video completely free of questions. So right here, I have adding decimals. I'm looking under Edpuzzle, and I am going to go ahead and look at this video. In the beginning, I said you can transform any video into a learning experience. So looking at this, what can I do with this information? Let's go ahead and edit this video. If this is too long for my students, I can go ahead and cut the video. If VoiceOver will not be able to work with YouTube video, but it works with any of our Edpuzzle hosted or Edpuzzle original videos, where you can use your own voice within the video. And then questions. This is where the magic of your lesson happens, where you transform that video. Instead of students passively watching the video, they are able to process that information and answer questions. Right here, I'm going to select Generate Questions. With Teacher Assist, you can allow Edpuzzle to support you to create questions. If you like those questions and they target your objectives, you keep them. If you're like, that doesn't target, you can discard them. Both. So Edpuzzle created 6 questions in this video. Now, if you want to add additional questions, what are decimals? You can do that. You can, oops, I keep doing this. I keep putting my alphabet in Greek as well. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Okay, so what are decimals? If I want, I can go ahead and I can utilize audio question for my students that might be struggling with reading, and I can provide answers. By providing, I'm just going to put here A, B. I'm going to, just for the purpose of modeling, A is the correct answer. You want to put which one is the correct answer, so Edpuzzle does the auto grading for you. Right here, multiple choice questions. I added another multiple choice. If I want to add an open-ended question, I can do that. I can also allow audio, but also allow students to provide an audio response, as well as if I want to add a note. This is where I always say you keep notes for what is the recap of the lesson. So right here, I transformed this video from just passively watching it in the class. I have transformed this video into a learning experience because students are going to answer these questions, and I can receive this data to identify what are my students' misconceptions or needs. Any questions so far? My review is very, very quick because I really want us to dive into differentiation. But do you have any questions so far? No questions. One thing I did want to share with you, we have an exclusive partnership with YouTube. Any YouTube videos that you bring to Edpuzzle, they are completely ads-free, no data tracking. Now, one thing I would highly encourage you is to download the Chrome extension. With that Chrome extension, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you, it's going to give you that reminder to go ahead and edit the video within Edpuzzle. So it keeps your students completely free, it keeps the video completely ads-free and your students safe. Now I'm going to go to YouTube myself, and I'm going to show I'm going to show you what I am referring about. All right, so let's go ahead here, adding decimals. Right here, when I click on the video,
I'm going to give away.
I'm in YouTube, and of course, I'm going to see ads first. When I have that Chrome extension under YouTube, because of our partnership, you're going to see a click that says edit the video with Edpuzzle. What that's going to do is it brings the video to Edpuzzle and it keeps it completely ads-free, no data tracking. So again, I highly encourage you to bring that Chrome extension. I am going to go ahead and put it in the chat and allow you a couple minutes to download that Chrome extension. before I move forward. Let me put it in the chat, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it. Go ahead and download. I'm going to give a minute to download the Chrome extension. And as what I said is having that Chrome extension, it keeps your students 100% safe. No ads, no data tracking. Go ahead and download that Chrome extension for a couple minutes, and we'll go from there. Any questions in regards to our Chrome extension or how to find a video, how to edit a video in Edpuzzle? And again, this is part of our quick review of what's Edpuzzle, and then we're going to dive into our differentiation. How come on my end, the videos that I see in math are premium, and I have to ask my admin to upgrade to full access to this content? Correct, Chloe. Our only curriculum from our Edpuzzle originals that currently has been upgraded as math. Your admin, I can't remember what your premium membership, if it does include the math. All the other content areas you should be able to have access to. However, math is right now one of our premium contacts, and you'll have to ask your administrator to provide access to it. So did I answer your question? All right, let's go ahead and differentiation. Go ahead and put in the chat for me, how do you differentiate in your classroom? What do you do to differentiate for your students? Adjust reading levels, usually allowing extra time on assignments or assessments. It's great. Let students talk to each other before beginning work. Think, pair, share. That's great. Change the level of complexity in math, varied instructional tools. Awesome. These are some great ways to differentiate your lesson. Right now, we're going to go ahead and discuss how can you utilize Edpuzzle to differentiate your lesson. Before we get started, I'm going to remind us, what is the differentiation cycle? What does it look like? The first part of our instruction is when we assess. And it is very crucial as part of our differentiation cycle to assess, because that's when we identify what are our students' needs, what are their gaps, what do they need, how can we support them. That's when we identify a need, we identify their missing skills, we identify if they have mastered the skill, that standard, and we can move them to the next level, and we can identify how can we best support them. Third part of our differentiation cycle is when we make a plan. We identify the need and we make a plan on how to meet that need. And the next part is meet the need by teaching, by providing instructions at their level, and then assessing again. It is very important that we start and we end the differentiation cycle with assessment, because that's how we are going to know that our students have mastered the skill. Some of the guiding questions to think about when I am differentiating my lesson is, what do I want the objective of this lesson to be? What standard or piece of standard I want students to show mastery of? So again, I assess, and then my guiding questions is, what do I want the objective to be? So what standard, what piece of standard do I want to work on? And what do I want the students to show mastery of? So for example, if I'm a 4th grade teacher planning a writing block, I'm working on the current standard, CCSS-ELA. What I want the students to do is produce complete sentences, recognizing and correcting inappropriate fragments or run-ons. So what I am going to focus on my lesson is identifying fragments. The next part is find that objective. What do I want the goal of the lesson to be? And your goal of the lesson should be correlated with your standard objective. So objectives and standards, they go hand in hand. You identify the big skill, the big goal, then you set a goal of that lesson. Now, I know that all of you are still on summer break, but I just want you to think, coming back from summer break in the first 2 weeks, and if you are a first-year teacher, I know this might look a little bit different, but in the first couple weeks, 3-4 weeks, what are some lesson objectives or standards that you're going to teach? Review study skills. Students will be able to explain and describe supply and demand and use real-world examples. So next, I have some good examples on that. Solving, writing, explaining the process of a variable equations. Perfect. Awesome. So these are some of the standards. How can you use Edpuzzle to, first of all, identify in that differentiation process if the students have where are their skills? We're utilizing that assessment. So you can either utilize a warm-up or a bell ringer, live mode as part of your instructions. You can do an independent practice, exit tickets, or a homework. I'm hesitant with homework to use it as a pre-assessment. And the reason why is because we don't know if it's the students answering or they are getting support. So while I've seen the teachers do this, I'm always a little bit hesitant thinking, well, I don't know if parents, older siblings support them in that, and that will not give you a clear picture of what your students need. One way for that pre-assessment that you can use is our Edpuzzle Originals. I touched base a little bit in our review, but it is a library of high-quality video lessons that are created by our team of expert teachers. They're all standards aligned, academically rigorous. Right now, we have 3,000, actually 400 plus videos, and they are ready to use. In our presentation, I have the California alignment for all of our standards aligned. However, I am going to show you where you're able to find that as well. You are going to go on edpuzzle.com/originals. I'm going to pin this, and it should bring you to this page. On the bottom of the page, it says, how do Edpuzzle Originals align to my school standards? If you click on English Language Arts, it's going to bring you to those Airtables that shows the standard, shows the Edpuzzle link, and the standard right here. The Edpuzzle title, Edpuzzle link, and standard. You can also filter those standards based on the grade level. So if you want to filter them by the grade level that you teach, you may do that too. So those Airtables will only show the grade level that you teach. A lot of teachers, I've seen that they sorted based on the grade level that they teach and the previous, if they're using it as a differentiation tool, in case the students have some missing skills. Again, in order to find those Airtables, you go on edpuzzle.com/originals. It is pinned in our chat. Select the state of your standard, and then it will give you right here. You can click and it gives you those Airtables. Now, if you go in our platform itself, under Edpuzzle Originals, right here you can see all of our subject areas, science, for example, high school science. You can see all of the videos within Edpuzzle. So our videos are currently in the process of being translated in Spanish. A lot of our math curriculum that it is up for purchase, and you want to discuss that with your administrator, they are in English and Spanish. However, we are in the process of adding all of our Edpuzzle Originals and translating them in Spanish. What I am going to ask you to do is, I want you to take a little bit of time. So I'm going to go ahead here and show you that for my example lesson that I want to teach is my goal is for students to produce and complete. That's my standard. Students will be able to identify fragments. I utilize my Edpuzzle Originals and the standard alignment page to go ahead and find the video that I want to assess my students. Again, remember, currently we're still on that first part of the circle. We are assessing the students. What I want you to do is I want you to take the next 5 minutes to explore our Edpuzzle Originals that matches the standards or an objective that you are planning to teach. So go ahead, bookmark the standard alignment, or just take 5 minutes to go ahead and look through our Edpuzzle Originals. I'm going to be here to answer any questions that you have as you are exploring the originals. Let me set a timer. Go ahead.
Could you show me how to filter the Airtable by grade level? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely,
Again?
yeah. So I'm going to go right here. And it is not by grade level, it's by standard, but that's where you would find the grade level. So you're going to go to your Airtable grouped by, I would click the standards, and then, oh, hold on here. Oh, right here. And then you can select the grade levels that you want. So if I was a second grade teacher, I would select all my L2 to 4 to 3. So I would select all the standards that apply to second grade. Did I answer your question? A moment.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking for like ninth grade, I guess.
So you'd go down here and you'd select right here, right here. I would probably keep some of the writing since the writing standards apply throughout all the grade levels. There are additions of it, so I would probably keep those as well. And then if I want to remove some, I go ahead and remove or add. Great question. Anyone else? Any questions? Any questions as you're exploring our Edpuzzle originals? We have a couple more minutes. Any questions that you might have? Let's go ahead and move forward. Can you tell me anything that you found that you would be able to use back with your students when they come back? Anything that it was eye-opening or something that you didn't know it lived there? Financial literacy videos, yeah, they're amazing, aren't they? That's what I was referring to, Ness. Multi-step. And one thing, Jesse, to know, all of our Edpuzzle originals follow I do, we do, you do. So it allows the students, it teaches the first. So if you see here, let me go to my Edpuzzle math. Okay, so if you see right here, all of this is the modeling part, all of this is the practicing part, and this is allowing the students to work through the problems. Awesome, great stuff. So right now, the next part is we've done the assessing and we identified the need. Oops, we have completed the assessment and we have identified the need. So right now you're going to be able, if you assign an Edpuzzle Originals, Edpuzzle already creates the assignment for you when the students turn it in. You're going to be able to see which students already met the objective or standard, which students met some of it but might need more practice, which students need reteaching or more supports to meet the standard. Right here, you can check progress and completion at a glance. So for example, it gives you the watch time, the grade for students to have an assignment graded by Edpuzzle. You have to have them turn in the assignment. And right here, it is the grade. It gives you which students are 100% they have received. Now, again, these students are ready for greater depth of complexity. We tend to think of differentiation only for students that are struggling. However, these are the kiddos that they would benefit from an extension activity that you can do with them based on that standard. Right here are the students that would benefit. Right here, I have a yellow student, but these two are my students that would benefit from my, oops, hold on. These students may need more instructions, more guidance. That's my small group or another way to support them. I can also review my data based on each question. So if I have a question in the video that all of my students got it wrong, well, that's probably not necessarily a small group. That's probably I need to address it with a whole class. Maybe during my teaching, during my I do part, I missed that part. So I would address it with all. If I have a question that 7 out of 8 got it wrong, then I would address it just that with specific student. Edpuzzle does the grouping for you. And this is extremely important as it helps you to use this information to spot misconception, plan small group instruction, and organize your groups. So as part of that differentiation cycle that we talked about, that assessment piece, it's already completed for you. You are able to identify, based on the questions, to identify what are the misconceptions, where is the missing skill. When I look at that standard, when I look at the objective, where is the missing skill for my student? Right here, I can look at the data separate by each individual. And my next part is what activities making the plan? What activities do I need to set up for my students that will challenge the students that were 100% that were green? What activities will offer more opportunities to practice the skill? And then what activities or opportunities can I create for reteaching the standard for the students that need it the most? Now, before I go to my students that are, I want to go ahead here and show you under my classes where I received that data. Under my classes, I'm going to go to this one, even though it is not turned in, but I know that students have watched it. Right here, right here, I can see the students that watched it. Edpuzzle hasn't generated a grade because right here, they have not turned it in. This is a class with adults. How many attempts, less time viewed, and not turned in? So again, this is the watch time, and then these are the questions. Any questions that you might have? Another one way for, since Edpuzzle has done the grouping for you, does Edpuzzle connect to, that's a great question. Yes, John, it does connect to the Google Classroom. Let me show you really quick. How can you do that? I kind of forget we have a seamless integration with Google Classroom. So right here on the plus button, you'd select connect your LMS, you'd select Google Classroom, and you can go ahead, import your class, and it will allow you to import your students. Let me put a link in the chat for us so you can, awesome, I'm glad you, hold on. This link right here discusses in depth the Google Classroom integration. It is seamless, as I said, because students are able to go ahead and integrate with Google Classroom. Right here, one idea for my students. So let's go back to that differentiation cycle. The students that have mastered the skills, they're completely green. One way that you can use Edpuzzle to differentiate the lesson for them is allowing them to create a student project where students would upload their own video or select one from YouTube, get creative with adding questions, and engage in higher order thinking. Students, teachers can create authentic learning experiences. So right here in Edpuzzle, I can go ahead right here and I can create a student project. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm sorry about that, guys. So right here on my Google Classroom, on my Edpuzzle, I can go ahead, I can create a student project, and you can find a YouTube video. What is the goal of the project? Go ahead and find the fragments in that video and turn them into a complete sentence and provide instructions. So this would be an activity in my differentiation cycle that I would use with the students that have already mastered the skill. Or students that you can, they are yellow, they need just to practice a little bit more. You can provide guided practice and assess and give feedback by giving them a choice board. So for example, and I have in these folders, you'll find them all in our presentation, give them choices. You can create a Google Doc or Google Slides and add in a note for your Edpuzzle video link where they check out the folders, then check out the slideshow, and they can do either this or that board. And students choose the way that they want to learn. This is what a choice board would look like. So they can either watch a Khan Academy or watch an Edpuzzle original. They can read National Geographic or read this article. They can record their own connection they made, or they can listen. So this is allowing those students that need a little bit more practice to go ahead and practice, but in a very differentiated way, on the way that they want to master the skill. Now reteaching. Reteaching, those are your red students. How do you want to support your red students? What is a way that you can utilize Edpuzzle to support your students that have not mastered the skill? For example, for reteaching, consider watching the same video you used for pre-assessment, but this time watch it in a live mode as a small group. Can you please tell me on the chat if you've ever used live mode in Edpuzzle? Yeah, the students use it independently, yeah. You have to teach them initially, but yeah. Okay, so you from the training yesterday. Okay, so live mode is when the teacher shows a video in front of the class. So this is the teacher showing a video, and then the students have their own one-on-one devices and they answer the questions. It is a highly engaged tool. Students are engaged because they're watching the video all together. They're answering the questions on their own. When you are doing live mode in a small groups, it allows you to uncover misunderstandings and redirect the students to the correct information. It also gives the students the opportunity to learn from their peers because you are doing this in a small group. I am going to go ahead in Edpuzzle and show you how would I show this video in live mode. So right here, after I've edited the video, I can go ahead and assign it. I'm going to assign it to my A4 class. And right here, I would go ahead, select prevent skipping, how many attempts do you want the students to have, and then assign the video. In my assignment right here, I would perform the video live mode. And right here, it will show me the students that are attending. Again, for you, since you're going to integrate your Edpuzzle account with Google Classroom, it will automatically, your students will be there. When you show a live mode in class, this is what your students are going to see in front on your projector. When it stops to the question, each student will get this question in front of their devices. As they are answering, it gives you that real-time analytics data. When you continue, you can see the responses of your students without necessarily seeing the names of the students. So again, this is just a different tool within Edpuzzle to utilize it for your differentiation piece, utilizing live mode on small groups. So right now, we've gone through the cycle. So we assessed, we utilized an Edpuzzle Originals to assess. Then we identified the need. What was the need that my students had? Then you made a plan. So the plan was, I'm going to have for my green students, a student project. For my yellow students, a choice board. For my red students, I'm going to do a live mode utilizing Edpuzzle Originals. Now, how do I know that I've met the need? And the only way to know is by assessing again. So your post-assessment can be the same video that you used for your pre-assessment. You would reset the video, reset your students' progress. You can look at the data and reflect. So right there, you're going to see which students showed progress, which students still need more support. Are there a majority of students that they're ready to move to the next lesson? So if I had to look at the differentiated lesson plan with Edpuzzle, again, where we started in our cycle is right here. We started with the standard that we have to teach. Then I identified the objective, the goal of the lesson. The next part, I looked at the pre-assessment within Edpuzzle. What are the skills that the students are missing? I looked at the data from the pre-assessment. I broke up the students into 3 groups, each of them with a different activity. So this is the part that as teachers, we really struggle on supporting. So we've gotten really good at supporting our red students and our yellow students. But when it comes to green students, that is where I've seen that those are the students that we're not bringing them to the next level. So anytime that you're thinking of differentiation, you really want to think, what is this challenge for the students that have mastered the skills? What is the choice board? And then what is the reteach, of course, for my red students? At the end, post-assessment, that is just going to help you to identify providing differentiated instruction. How did the students do? Now, before I go ahead, if you can please either share in the chat or unmute yourself and tell me, looking at this circle of differentiation, how would you use Edpuzzle? Could you repeat the question? Reteach assessment tool, reteach and assessment tool, anything. So again, guys, looking at this differentiated lesson plan with Edpuzzle, first you would have to identify the standard, then we're looking at the objective. Then identifying that pre-assessment, look at the data again, divide the students based on the activity that they need. So what would you do with your challenge students? What would you do with the students that need practice? What would you do with your students that you have to reteach? And then the next part is your post-assessment. These two assessments, they can be the same because for intervention, it's a good one. So these post assessments, they can be the same, the pre and the post. What questions do you have so far? Any questions? Other ways that we can support your students is students can learn at their own pace. They can pause the video. They have the rewatch options. You can add an audio response or an audio note to your questions. You can embed links to resources and supports, embed images, use automatic feedback. Right here on audio responses, you can allow students to answer with audio. Students choose to type their or record their answer. For your ELL students, you can add verbal prompts or images in your questions. You can also include open sentence frames with open response questions. Again, these are some different ways that you can support your ELL students with fluency and speech emergency. Now, tell me a little bit, what did you see today that you can use in your classroom? One, what questions do you have, and what is one thing that you can see that you can use it in your classroom? The feedback option, awesome. I'm sorry about that. I'm fighting a head cold for the past week. I was going to ask for a list. Awesome. The grading component, very easy to see how your yes. I absolutely love the grading component. I agree, Carrie. It is easy for you. It is already done for you. You don't have to worry. You don't have to do anything for it. Right here, I have some resources for you, a getting started playlist, training courses, our help center. I have more ideas and resources, the video selection and warm up. Yeah. And right here, I have my email. As you go back to your schools, I know it's a little bit hard to think when students are not in front of you, but as you go back and you want to implement all these ideas in your classroom, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I said in my previous sections too, my favorite part of my job is truly the implementation part of getting to really implement Edpuzzle in the classes. So if you're like, hey, what do you do with student projects? How would you use live mode in a special ed class, in a math class? Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you can go ahead and fill out this feedback link, that would be extremely helpful. I look at that. It helps me improve my practices. And the next part, if you can fill out this form for me, and you can be an Edpuzzle, an Edpuzzle champion, that would be extremely helpful. That way you can receive emails from me with any of our updates, any resources, anything you might need. So if you can go ahead, fill out the feedback form and the form to be an Edpuzzle champion. And what does Edpuzzle champion mean? All you're going to do is just receive resources from me. Since I support Selena's Unified School District, you'd be receiving all these supports. I'm going to stay for the next 7 minutes to answer any questions you might have. And if you can fill out these 2 forms, I would greatly appreciate it. One, the feedback form, I really want. The second form, oh, let me see. I'm sorry about that. Huh. Interesting. Does it allow you now? Let me see. Jesse, does it allow you now? I think I changed my permissions. No, not preview. No, it doesn't. Okay, let me see here. That's interesting. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, hold on. Okay, there you go. I think I fixed it. And copy. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see if that works. And Yeah, thank you so much for joining. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. And happy Friday, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. Oh, great, Carrie. Thank you so much. Do you think student can be used in groups? Yeah, absolutely. You can use. You can assign it to a group of students. So within your Google Classroom, you can just assign it. Select the students that you want to assign the student project, and or you can have students work in one student project together as a group. So one finds the video, one edits the video, one adds questions, one adds notes. Jessie, did I answer your question? Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Thank you. Thank you so much. Absolutely. The pleasure to do trainings. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, could you please provide the sign out form again?
Oh, the sign up form, the feedback link?
Yes, the feedback. Thank you.
Of course. Let me put it in the chat again. There you go. It's already pinned in there. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Now I gotta stop presenting, stop recording.